All right, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing time so far. Our next speaker is Gregory Brown. He is the Vice President of the UPS Global Advanced Technology Group at UPS. Please join me in welcoming Gregory to our virtual stage.
Hello, my name is Gregory Brown. Today I want to talk to you about AI-driven supply chains, impacts of emerging technology. I've been with UPS. For 26 years. And as mentioned, I'm the Vice President of the Global Advanced Technology Group. And I believe that AI plus emerging technology can help really anyone solve some of the complex network problems that we're experiencing today in supply chains. And today in my presentation, I'd like to cover three main topics. One is supply chains today, why more complex? Secondly, impacts of emerging technology. And the third, we'll take a look at the outlook of what UPS is looking for next in our supply chain and network. Starting off with supply chains today, why are they more complex? Well, as many people know, B2B type supply chains are complex in themselves. When you look at the screen, this is a simple view of packages that may be going through the supply chain from business to business. And at the origin, we can see certainly this is the starting point, and then we go through over-the-road transportation, we go through one hub at UPS, and then from there, if it's an air package, we go over the air. If it's a ground package, we go on the ground based off the commit times to another hub, and then last mile, and then finally to the customer. This form of transportation throughout the network is already complex, but B2C, business to customer, has really changed the game because now we're delivering more packages to individual homes. And in itself presents complexity as it relates to networks that were built around B2B. But to add additional complexity to that, you have the returns process that is more complicated when you think about packages that are being returned or the reverse logistics as it relates to e-commerce driven packages in our networks. So certainly supply chains today are complex. But the reality is, this is a global supply chain. It's driven by consumer demand. And there's a number of things that we have to consider. Certainly it's not as simple in the first slide that I showed you. In reality, there's a lot of concurrent movement that is happening within the supply chain. The number of different commit times that have to be met. Each customer is shipping their packages, and really they're looking for them to be delivered in an efficient way. And all of this is happening at different times throughout the day, throughout the night, nonstop. So various commit times we have to consider. And then there's different modalities, different ways in which these packages will be transported. It could be over the air, it could be in the air, over the ground, certainly over water. We think about shipments that happen. And then within the network itself, each facility or asset has constraints that we have to consider. Certainly all of these things drive the complexity of our networks. And I talked about already, B2C, more strain is happening there, more complicated returns process. And then the last thing is cybersecurity. As you ship packages throughout complicated supply chains, as you see on the screen, certainly cybersecurity is a must when you think about the movement of packages from business to business or really business to customer. And when you take a deeper look at all of this, there's certainly additional challenges or constraints that we have to consider, and even growing disruptions that are happening more frequently in our network. If you look back at B2B to B2C, customer behavior has changed to the point where really they're looking for more next day volume. They want their volume quicker. And certainly with the cell phone, the ability to order from home and the convenience of that, it's driving more demand. And they want same day delivery or even within hours. So certainly all those different behavior changes can add some complexity on the network that was not designed for that to get from the beginning. And then also you look at the global COVID-19 pandemic, we all can see the impact that a pandemic can have on a supply chain. In some cases, we see supply chains halt or adjust from the pandemic and these types of things that can happen globally. However, Any supply chain, especially in these times, they needs to continue to deliver what matters. So UPS, we're focusing on ensuring, even during a pandemic, that we can deliver what matters to our customers. The third point is there are more natural disasters and events that are disrupting service. Any supply chain today has to be able to compete with these unforeseen events that can occur. What does all this mean? When you add all this up together, really it helps us to see that we really need adaptable, smart networks to meet the needs of our customers. That leads us to our second point, the impacts of emerging technology. In order to solve some of these complex network challenges that we are experiencing today, we really need AI plus emerging technology to solve these complex problems. As you can see on the screen, the simple supply chain event that I showed you before now is overlaid with artificial intelligence, emerging technology across the supply chain. These are the types of things that are required in order to deal with some of the challenges, as mentioned, that we will face going forward today and into the future, not only the origin to delivery aspect of the system, but also the more complicated returns. The question now is, how is UPS approaching this? What are we doing? Well, in order to meet up with the complexity that is now more prevalent in our supply chains today, UPS is leveraging AI and emerging technology in different ways. We have 5 pillars on my team that we're spinning up and leading in order to ensure that we can bring the technologies required to help UPS meet the needs of the customer. The first one is data-driven decisions. In this particular pillar, we're leveraging AI and machine learning to ensure that we can make the right decisions at the right moment. And that's not only the network, but that's also within facility and throughout our network. The second pillar is sensor technology and IoT. Certainly, it's important for your assets to be smart. If your assets are smart, they create the data points that you need in order to make the best decisions wherever you are on your network. The third area is robotics and automation. Within this particular pillar, we're leveraging robotics and automation throughout our facilities to think about how we can meet up with the growing needs for autonomy so that we can serve our customers even in or during a pandemic. The fourth area is small to large drones. This is an area where we're certainly leaders as you think about what we're doing with Flight Forward and the Part 135 certificate that we have in terms of providing service with drones during a pandemic, providing autonomy in the air. And the fifth one is autonomy on the road or autonomy in final mile, another area where we're testing and pushing forward with the autonomous vehicles so that we can make sure we can adapt to the needs of our customer. These pillars, 5 pillars, are critical to ensuring that we can meet the needs of our customer, even during the changing states of our supply chains today. Today, I'll talk a little bit about some of these particular pillars. The first one is enhanced decision-making or data-driven decision. In this particular pillar, this one is critical because if you're going to solve some of the complex problems within your network, as I described before, you need AI, machine learning, and emerging technology to span across your supply chain. And we have that in a system that we call HEAT, a harmonized enterprise analytics tool. It provides us the single source of truth that we need to provide our facilities, our network, and our people to make the right decisions. In essence, the HEAT provides a digital twin of our network so that we can make the right decisions at the right time. And as mentioned, this is throughout our entire supply chain. We're able to leverage this single source of truth. This may seem like a simple thing, but a common data source is critical in order to make the right decisions at the right time and meet up with those constraints that I talked about before at the beginning of this presentation. And just to give you some key points about HEAT, we have the capacity to run about 1 billion data points per day, and we process 5.3 petabytes per week. Certainly, this is an amazing tool that gives us the leverage that we need in order to meet the needs of the customer. And this single source of truth really extends into our facilities. As we think about facility digital twins, this is a key component in order to make sure that our assets on the network have the things that are needed in order to meet the needs of the customer. To the left, you see Eindhoven. It's a full facility, digital twin of Eindhoven, a facility in Europe. And using this digital twin, we have the ability to understand how we can change the needs or change the parameters of this facility to adapt to the needs of our customer or the needs of the network. And with this particular digital twin, we can optimize it. We have tools that we can provide to our engineers so they can change the speed of the conveying system, change the types of packages that are moving through the model, and do different types of things that allows us to tweak the model so that we can get the improvements needed out of the facility. And when you think about this, it really provides us a better decision-making apparatus in order to really show our end user how to make the best choice. Why? Because they can see within the model everything that is happening. They see the net effect of the choices that they make. And within this model, they have the ability to crash the operations without impacting the real working operations. So they can crash in the model, not in real life. And by doing this, they're able to build a confidence in the choices that they're making in order for us to ensure that that node on the network is running as optimal as possible. So certainly this is a space where we continue to build upon and then spread this throughout our network to make better decisions as it relates to facility digital twins. And this single source of truth continues really down to the local level. As it relates to our people, we provide through HEAT the ability to provide tools that give decision support so that people can make decisions closer to the problem. To the left, you see an aircraft mechanic that is troubleshooting or providing maintenance on one of the engines. With these additional emerging technology tools and data that we can provide, we're able to provide additional information so that the mechanic can make the best choice. Certainly, it'll be a choice that is driven by data. Our operators in our facilities as well can be provided tools that allows them to make better decisions as we think about the different tools that we're able to provide them. And that helps us to really accelerate the learning curve so that as people onboard to UPS, they can have tools in their hands that really helps them to make the best choices, even if they're starting day one. The next area that I'd like to talk about is sensor technology and IoT. When you look at this area, this is an area that really grew during the pandemic. Why? Because when we took on the opportunity to ensure that critical vaccines moved through our network and reached the people that needed it most, we certainly were able to advance technology to do that. UPS was able to create a technology-enabled priority lane that is able to identify critical vaccines out of 21 million packages that are shipped daily at UPS. We were able to do that leveraging IoT and sensor technology that will allow us to make the necessary choices. And as mentioned, in effect, create a dedicated lane for critical packages to operate within our network. And really, this type of technology helps us to answer questions like, where is my package? And to help you to get a sense of how this technology works within UPS, I have an advertisement for UPS Premier, a service that is powered by IoT and sensor technology, and certainly proved to be very critical during the pandemic. And certainly we're leveraging this technology every day now, today.
Every day, UPS handles more than 20 million packages in its shipping network. Many are critical healthcare items that require heightened visibility and specialized handling. UPS Premier provides those capabilities and much more, taking healthcare logistics to a whole new level with unprecedented visibility, prioritized handling, and agile system controls. Using next-gen sensor and smart label technology, critical packages can be identified, tracked, and physically located in the UPS network and beyond, improving outcomes. In addition, network visibility and flow control provide a priority path and specialized handling for preferred delivery. Regardless of volume spikes or surges, UPS Premier creates the priority lanes and visibility needed for critical healthcare shipments. Visibility, control, priority handling. That's UPS Premier.
So as you can see from that infomercial about UPS Premier, this critical service, we leveraged it, or we are leveraging it through the pandemic to make sure that critical packages can move through our network. If I go back to that simple supply chain view, this time it's of our healthcare supply chain. As I pick up that critical vaccine from the distribution center and I move it throughout our network, we have visibility from the origin all the way to the destination, which in this case is a hospital, of where that package is throughout our entire network. And we can certainly notify in the event that something goes wrong, we can stop that package wherever it is so that we can, if we need to kind of retrieve it in some way, we have full visibility across our network to meet the needs of our customer. In this case, moving that critical vaccine to those that need it most. The next area that I'll talk about is drone technology. And this is an area that UPS is particularly proud of because UPS was able to really be first. First, we have the first commercial drone airline called Flight Forward. And it is through this particular effort that we were able to really, during the pandemic, again, deliver the things that were needed most. We had the first revenue generating flight and also prescription drone delivery that we are leveraging really every day on a daily basis in North Carolina and Florida as we deliver prescription drugs in Florida to those that need it most. Those that were impacted by the pandemic, they had the ability to have those particular items brought to their door through our service. And also, we're the only drone airline is licensed to carry hazmat or COVID-19 specimens. So certainly, UPS is leading the way in drones. And if you look to the right, you'll see that we've safely completed more than 6,818 flights and counting. So this is a service that we will continue to build on as we think about what's next in this space. Our current capabilities today, our flight distance is about 4.9 kilometers. If you're looking at the small drone to the left on the screen, and we have the potential to carry up to 12 kilograms. But we're not stopping there. If you saw in the news, we also have new aircrafts that we're testing, the Beta eVTOL. Certainly, this is an aircraft that will allow us to think differently about how we can move packages through our network. And we're working through regulatory and we're building out economic models for scaling of any of our drones as we go forward. And we really want to maintain an industry leading position, especially as it relates to healthcare logistics, a new growing space in which we can offer a service, a tremendous service to those that need it most, and moving those critical healthcare packages to where they're needed most. And we'll build upon that going into the future as we look at our strategies in the years to come. The next space that I'll talk about is autonomy on the road. This is another space that I believe is critical as it relates to coming up with emerging technology to solve some of the complex constraints that are in our supply chains today. And at UPS, we're testing autonomous ground vehicles across 3 different areas: shifting, that's on-premise shifting, over-the-road transportation, and pickup and delivery. And this testing is critical, again, because of our supply chains are so complex. We want to be able to meet the needs of our customer in any way that we can and overcome pandemic type situations, overcome issues of transitioning from B2B to B2C, or all those things that can happen. UPS is building out the fleet that allows us to meet the needs. And many of us know that our supply chains are hampered in many different ways. And the technology is really needed now. And it's evident really to all that are in this space that we need something new. And certainly UPS is working on just that. And to give you a closer look, looking at that top picture to the left, this is an on-premise shifter. This is from Gossen. This shifter gives us the ability to integrate with our facility. As you can imagine, packages are flowing through the facility, and as trailers fill up or we need to bring new trailers to the facility, we now can have the ability to integrate the technology outside the building with technology inside the building to accommodate an autonomous process. And certainly that's critical in getting the most out of our asset that is on the network. And when you look to the right, over-the-road vehicles are going to be critical as years come in the future, so that we can have the ability to grow our fleet as needed to meet the needs of our customer. Whether it be B2B or B2C, UPS is building out the fleet to meet the changing customer demands. And then lastly, we're working with Waymo. from a pickup and delivery standpoint to ensure that we can have a means of moving packages wherever it may be within our network. And certainly pickup and delivery is a very complicated space, and we have answers that we're working on even there. And looking at all of this, autonomous vehicles is a critical component to developing technology that meets the needs of our network. And lastly, when you bring all this together, we can now look at the outlook of what is next for UPS. I talked a little bit about some of the pillars that we're working on, the 5 pillars: data-driven decisions, robotics and automation, autonomous vehicles, sensors and IoT technology, and small to large drones. When you bring all those pillars together, where is it headed? Well, UPS is building a smart logistics network. What does it look like? Well, as we think about our customer, we want to start with the best digital experience. And with our customers in mind, we're building out our network and changing our hubs and facilities, outfitting them with the necessary tools, technology, all the different types of robots and things that are needed, or AI, in order to ensure that we can make service on any packages that are needed within our network, even during a pandemic. And we're leveraging data to do that. Data is critical. AI is critical. We talked about heat and what it can do. And also we have networks, within our cold chain network and UPS supply chain solutions that we offer. We're also bringing on other aspects of our network, like UPS stores as origin points for introducing volume into our network, or even our e-commerce fulfillment side of the house, where we're thinking differently about this space as well. And then we have sustainability. All of this will be done with a sustainability view, thinking about the future. How can we go to EV, electric vehicles, or drones, and things of that nature that really takes out emissions, harmful emissions in our network and in our environment. And then also we have customer-facing technology that we're working on and developing for our customers. And no doubt, next generation technology will be critical in order to meet the needs, leveraging AI-driven solutions that we'll talk about at a later time here in the future. And all of it leads to our consumer delivering those things that matter. And all of this is connected with AI and emerging technology. And all of this is for our customer, which brings us to the conclusion. UPS is building out the framework to deliver the supply chain of the future and to move our supply chain forward. And we're doing it with our customer in mind. We have a saying that I'll end with here at UPS. UPS is building the best digital experience for our customers, and it is powered by our global smart logistics network. Thank you.
Amazing, Gregory. Thank you so much for sharing with us. That was fantastic. And I know this virtual audience is giving you a huge virtual round of applause.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you for taking time today.
All right, thank you.
The audience, it's time for you to make your way to your next session. Along the way, make sure you accept your connection request and take some time to check out our amazing exhibits. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.